Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So, with 2024 coming to a close, I thought we'd do a review of who is the best new frame of Warframe 2024. We got lots of good new Warframes this year. Some of them so good that it really warps the game around them as far as their power levels. So let's get right into this review and discussion. But before we do, Happy New Year. And if you're not subbed to this channel yet, make sure you are, because we do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff. You're in the right place for Warframe content. We're doing lots and lots of videos in 2025 as well. So yeah, let's hope for a good year of new frames going forward. Alright, so let's do this in release order for the 2024 frames, going over what they do and how their impact on the meta was in the grand scheme of things. So starting off with the first, air quotes, new frame, the first frame of 2024 that was added, we got Dante as our first frame to go over. Now, Dante has been heavily adopted by the Warframe player base. We have definitely latched onto this guy as an extremely powerful meta frame, and his abilities don't make that very hard to do because they're just extremely powerful abilities. Now, he's normally got an Exalted Book as his first ability, but a lot of players do tend to helmet that off for either Roar, Nourish, or something like that. But yeah, he has the Exalted Book as his first ability. Not the best damage, as we usually helmet that off for Roar, but still decent enough, and it can also automatically scan enemies when you kill enemies with it too. But the main abilities we care about here are going to be the Dark and Light verse. So Dante can do Light Magic and Dark Magic, and then combine the pages together to make the final verse, which can do a variety of spells. But normally, the second ability of Dante Light verse just gives you Overguard. Overguard is very powerful in Warframe. It will prevent damage to you, basically. It will also prevent most status effects to you, and prevent knockdowns as well. So Dante is a frame that can provide this type of effect to his teammates and himself. Additionally, if you cast his ability twice, you get a special ability called Triumph that gives you Overguard Regeneration. So when you have Overguard Regeneration in Warframe, you just basically can't die, because you get 0.5 seconds of invincibility per Overguard break, and it keeps regenerating, so you keep being invincible over and over again. Additionally, he's got an ability called Dark Verse that has his damage focus thing, unlike basically the healing of the first ability, and you can use that Dark Verse to detonate big DOTs on enemies that can pretty much do level 10,000 with no guns at all. So yeah, you got a frame that can be a massively powerful support, a frame that can be a DPS, and also has in-between spells as well. We got, like, Dark and Light can make a mini book that will follow you around. Light and Dark again, like, you can make mini birds that fly around, do a bunch of status damage. He's got a bunch of stuff he can do, and everything that he does is very strong. Additionally, since, he's a new frame and is extremely powerful, he has these mechanics that other frames don't have. No other frame has Overguard Regeneration, like Triumph does. Other frames can detonate DOTs, technically, with, Expedite Suffering, but he's got a massive AoE DOT detonation with his Double Dark ability, and the list goes on. Status damage, extra procs, etc., etc. He's a very powerful frame, and one of the best frames of 2024. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next frame of 2024, who's actually very, very strong as well. Maybe not as strong as Dante, but the second frame of 2024 we're going to cover is to be Jade. She came on the Jade Shadows update in April, I think it was, and Dante came on the Dante Unbound update in I think it was January or February. But yeah, here we are with Jade. Now, another frame, another very powerful frame here, Jade. Just like Dante, she could do a lot of stuff. She's not just a healer. She's not just a DPS. She can do both, and she can do both pretty well. Now, as far as what Jade's abilities do, she's got a ton of stuff. Now, starting off with one of the craziest things Jade can do, Jade actually has 2 aura mods. I've got Growing Power and Brief Respite, and yes, these do all apply to your teammates as well. So, all my teammates get both these mods. Additionally, since she is such a new power crep frame, basically, her abilities do lots of things individually. So, 2 aura mods. She's also got a built-in debuff on her abilities too. So we look at Light's Judgment here. Okay, so get a load of this. It's a damage over time to enemies. It's a heal over time to your teammates. It's also a debuff on enemies too, because of her Light's Judgment buff. And you can have multiple of these healing debuff zones out at the same time. That's just a first ability. That's more than a lot of frames even feel like they have in total sometimes. Second ability, Symphony of Mercy. You get 3 massively powerful buffs you can switch between. One of them being Power Strength, which goes up to 150% Power Strength. Deathbringer, which gives you a damage buff on all weapons, including Operator Amps. So you can buff Operator Amps with massive damage. And the Spirit of Resilience, giving shield regeneration and shield recharge delay reduction. So very, very strong buff. Now the only issue with her and why she's a little bit weaker sometimes is unlike a frame like Wisp, Jade can only have one of these buffs active at a time. So you're either choosing between big power strength buff, big damage buff, or crazy shield regen. So yeah, her shield regen is going to be you have to be entirely switched to it to actually have that active. That is one of the things that makes her a little bit not as OP, but still these buffs are crazy strong either way. Very good in Void Casting with Deathbringer. Third ability, Oath of Demise. Basically a cone of armor strip and shield removal in front of you. It goes pretty quickly if you have a bunch of power strength like me. Additionally, that has become a new helmet people use on lots of frames, like Zaku, etc., etc. Also, Dante's Helmet Dark Verse is pretty decent as well on frames like Titania. And then the ultimate of Jade is going to be, basically she flies around in angel form, I guess I'd call it, called Glory on High. It's an AoE Exalted. So it has some pretty good stuff. Not really my kind of ability, but some players have definitely really been enjoying this one. Now, I would say that she is below Dante. The fact that her survivability buffs, her teammates are reliant on switching between these three buffs is annoying to me. But that being said, Deathbringer working on amps is a pretty unique thing in Warframe and is so powerful that she's definitely a top tier frame for Warframe 2024, but maybe not the top Warframe 2024. All right, moving on to the third Warframe that we got this year. This is one that definitely, Jade, I feel like Jade and Dante took off pretty well, but Comey definitely is more like, not sure if I really like this one as much. So we got the third frame of Warframe 2024, Comey, or Kumai, however we're supposed to pronounce that, and she came from Shrine Defense. She was in the Comey and the Five Fates update, and she is a Threads of Fate, like gambling RNG themed frame. So if you want a consistent experience, look elsewhere. So basically, the way the ability works of Comey, she can basically, well, first she gets RNG on lots of her abilities. So for her passive, for example, every 60 seconds, one of your abilities, or one of your weapons gets random status effects for 60 seconds. So random weapon, random status effects. First ability throws out these like strings that don't do a whole lot. They don't even stun enemies actually, but they do some status procs. Sometimes you get some good RNG on the roll. So yeah, a really underwhelming ability. I used it in EDA the other day, and it doesn't even stun enemies in place. It just kind of like status procs them. So unless they get like fire or electric proc, they're not getting stunned. So second ability is going to be pretty much like a discount. No, that's the wrong one. I was going to say discount mesmer skin. This is the decrease ability. So you can use the second ability of Comey to get decrees in mission, and you don't have to be a Deviri. But the thing is, you get weird challenges like kill 17 enemies while sliding. So you have to be mid-mission doing goofy stuff like that to even get a decree. And after all that work, what are you going to get? You're going to get a decree that says on finisher, AoE fire proc. Not exactly the best. Or maybe you'll get one on finisher, get increased armor. Not exactly what I'm bonding for on Comey. So her inconsistent experience has put a sour mood in some players, or put a sour mood some players involving her abilities. Because yeah, also if you're like, I don't want to have to do slide kills, get rid of that, and you hold the button down, it puts a long cooldown on this thing to get another decree back. So yeah, not exactly the most amazing ability, but it has potential. Maybe in the future, if Comey gets an augment that gives her teammates these decrees too, that could change some stuff. But as of right now, it's just for her. It requires, jumping through some hoops to even get the decree in the first place. They can be really strong if you get lucky. Like if you get double crit damage, obviously that's pretty good. But yeah, this is just, it's an annoying ability because of the restrictions of it. That kind of makes Comey ruin for me specifically too. Third ability, this is a discount Mesmer skin, like Revenant. You basically throw out these charms, and depending how much RNG dice rolls you got, scales how many charms you have, and they are going to prevent damage and also heal you. This ability, I have used it for level 10,000 before. It is definitely worse than Mesmer skin, but it is good enough for what it is, I suppose. It's just basically a worse Mesmer skin in my eyes. But yeah, decent enough for what it is. And her ulti, I don't think I have her ulti on this build. Her ulti is another ability with her strings. It's a lot more strings, though, with Bunraku. You will CC a bunch of enemies in with this, and then with the new Arcane Impetus, since this does so many different status procs, this like random status procs, you'll get a ton of extra stats. So this could potentially be okay. Her ulti is decent, but I didn't mention it has a very long cast animation, too. So if you want to be casting this thing, it's going to be like, okay, well, hopefully you got a casting speed shard. I don't have any shards on her right now. But hopefully you got a casting speed shard, because that was like an entire, like 3-second cast time there. First ability with no casting speed feels awful, too. She's just really not my favorite frame. I don't think she's really anyone's favorite frame. She was just a frame that felt like she was made for new players, but it's too confusing and inconsistent for new players in the first place. So hopefully you can tell that I'm not a huge fan of her, but either way, I hope that you guys enjoy her because I really don't. That being said, again, an augment could change that going forward. Now for the final frame of Warframe 2024, we got another very powerful frame. Basically, out of the 4 frames made this year, they're all powerful, but 3 of them are like blatantly like some of the best characters in the game. One of them is like definitely not the best character in the game. So the 4th frame we got Cyto9. This came out like a couple weeks ago with the Warframe 1999 update, and he has already been adopted as a powerful character that people are using a lot in Warframe. So as far as what Cyto9 does, he's a sniper frame, and his first ability is going to make it where he scans enemies through walls. He's able to shoot enemies through walls pretty easily with this ability, depending on how much range you have. Additionally, the ability of Cyto9 as passive is going to give you increased crit chance when you get a headshot kill. So his first ability and his passive have good synergy together. Moving forward, his third ability, his second ability, Resupply, is a gun buff and instant reload and pulls ammo out of thin air. So you get a gun buffer frame here that is a very unique, powerful effect. I can basically I can choose what elements I want on this gun buff as well. So let's say this is my Tenant Galaxy, and I'm like, you know what? I didn't mod it for Blast. Let's put some Blast on there. If I throw Blast packs out, now I have Blast on my Galaxy, and if I throw on Nourish, I've got Viral and Blast, and whatever I modded for in the first place. Cyto9 is so powerful, you don't need to mod your guns most of the time. So, as you can see, well, maybe you can't see it that well because they die so fast. He can just do so many procs. They have so many procs on the proc combos you can't normally do. Cyto9 can do that with his ammo packs. He can also spam them for your teammates as well. He's just really, really good for gun buffing, really easily too. Third ability is called Evade. It will go invisible. And then when you get headshot kills, you'll get increased duration on your invisibility. This is Helmuth too, so it's a Helmuth that can give everybody invisibility relatively easily. His 4th ability is an Exalted Sniper. Don't currently have it on this build because it's just so fun to use the Galaxy and stuff like that. But his Exalted Sniper does hit really hard. It's called the Neutralizer, and it has chaining headshots on headshot, basically. It also has a grenade launcher too, so I have a build with that, not Helmuth off. Yes, it's also got an Exalted Grenade Launcher on it too. So not really that many limitations, just kind of fun. And that Grenade Launcher will freeze enemies solid. And like we're getting red crits with like not even any mods on the build. So very strong stuff. He is going to be one of my top frames for 2024 for sure. So now that we've gone over all 4 of the frames that came out in Warframe 2024, what are the strongest of the bunch? Well, you can probably tell from the way I'm describing them, but I do view Dante as the strongest new Warframe in Warframe 2024. And I think the devs would agree too, because he's actually the only frame that got nerfed in 2024 as well. Yes, Dante actually got nerfed. DE has been trying to not nerf stuff as much nowadays, but they did nerf Dante, and then the players freaked out. They unnerfed Dante, so yeah, he's really, really good. They basically nerfed him, then unnerfed him, and buffed him up. And he's really strong. The Overguard regen is just unbeatable. The double Darkness Tragedy attack is very good for multi-million easy damage. Who will be next after Dante? Dante is definitely top tier to me, but second I would say definitely is Jade. I think Jade is above Cyto9 for me personally, as I'm someone that plays in squads a lot of the time, and for Jade, she is meant to be a support DPS kind of character, where she could, do a bunch of crazy damage buffs, can do some healing and shield regen. For me, Cyto9 is more of a solo playing frame. Of course, you can buff your teammates with Cyto9, but in squad missions, basically, I love to have a Jade. I love to play Jade as well. Jade's buff working on amps is helpful in Void Cascade too. So I would say first place Dante, second place Jade, third place Cyto9, and fourth place the least exciting, the worst frame of 2024 that's new is going to be Comey. So let me know how you guys feel about these choices down below. Do you think that Cyto9 is better than Jade? Do you think Cyto9 is better than Dante for that matter? Let me know. I'm looking to hear your guys' opinions. But either way, guys, I'll see you next year in 2025. Appreciate all support. I'll be trying to do a video every single day in 2025 like we did in 2024. And you guys have a great, great new year. All right, guys. Peace.